Hi, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hi, Jenny. Good to
How are
see
you?
you.
Good to see you too. Um, Thank you for making time to interview today. Lori, another member of our session today that we're getting to know a little bit more about. And I think we'll just jump right in. So would you start by telling me what's your full name?
My full name is Laura Lynn Jensen.
Laura Lynn Jensen. Have you
Laura
always gone
Lynn.
by Lori?
I always have since I was very young. Only one who calls me Laura Lynn is my mother when she's mad.
And where did you grow up, Lori?
Well, I was born in Arizona on an Air Force base, and then we moved to Texas on an Air Force base, and then to Racine when I was 5. So I've lived here most of my life.
Okay. And where do you currently work and what do you do there?
I work at North Shore Animal Hospital where I have worked for 37, almost 38 years. And it's the only job I've ever had. I started there as the morning kennel girl and now am the manager and part owner of the hospital.
Nice. That's a long time to work someplace.
Yes, it is.
And I know you guys do wonderful things. You're always so good for our dog.
Oh, I'm really, really lucky to have a job I enjoy as much as I do.
Absolutely. Me too. Um, what individuals have had the greatest influence on your faith life and how so?
Well, I think one would be my dad. He's always been a person who's had great faith, and from a very young age, we prayed at night and prayed at the dinner table, and always were regular churchgoers. But also, he talked to us about God and His relationship. And I know that even when he ate dinner alone at a restaurant, would pray, which seemed weird to us as kids, but now made me understand, what a close relationship he has to God. I think I did this normal kid thing of went to church when my parents made me, then stopped going to church, then came back once I had children. And I've been super lucky to be at Covenant with some amazing ministers and other church members who have just really enhanced my church life. So Melanie, I think, was the first one who, being in charge of our moms group and our What Would Jesus Eat group, challenged me to be not just a social Christian, as I call it, but more of a deeper religious, spiritual Christian, and kind of taught about tension and you know challenging your beliefs and it's okay to have doubts and then I'm so lucky to have you and Sarah and I just and some amazing people in our church that I can be in groups with and talk about and get challenged by. So I'm feel really fortunate.
Absolutely. When are you most aware of God's presence?
Okay, I gotta put my glasses on because that's what I wrote down, I think. Um, I think that God's presence it comes to me. I mean, hopefully I try to keep him with me always, but in nature for sure, and in church, especially when we do our breathing in and breathing out and our quiet times, when I'm alone and can focus, I think sometimes it's hard for me to not conjure, but to get God when I'm busy or stressed. But breathing has been really good for me too. I remember Melanie talking about using breathing as a prayer, and I know you and Sarah both have us breathe when we start church and do our Holy Spirit bring us peace and all that. So I actually have a breathing app on my watch that reminds me to breathe. And I do that 1 minute deep breathing. And I can sometimes still my mind during that and sort of feel some presence. So I'm still working on it for sure.
Well, that's good. Hopefully we all are.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And what are some things you like to do in your free time or some of the gifts or talents that you have?
Well, I like to spend time with animals. As many of you know, I have a lot of animals. I have 15 goats and 4 horses and 5 dogs and 4 cats and some rabbits. So we have a lot of animals. So caring for animals. I've definitely done dog sports with my dogs, herding sheep and agility and obedience. Um, I do have a horse that I take riding lessons on, and I spend a lot of time being a horse show mom, spending my money and my time helping Mila with her horses. And I think that some of my skills are that I have some soft skills, maybe people skills, dealing with people that are upset or stressed with my job. And I have a tendency to be a joiner and be involved in committees, and I'm a president of several different organizations, and I run a border collie rescue and some different things. So I like to be busy, obviously.
Yeah, not too much quiet time in there, it doesn't sound
No,
like.
no.
Yeah, a lot of really good things. And I should have said earlier, you were talking about your dad, and of course, lots of people will know, but not everyone necessarily, that your dad is Eddie Huffman, who's also a member at Covenant, which kind of leads into the next question, which is, when did you join Covenant and why?
Right. So as a child, when I was about 12, we joined the church. So I'm 55. So that's been a long time. We were actually Lutherans looking for a new church, and our neighbors were the Shorts and the Foremans and loved their church. So our family visited, and our parents decided to join. So I've been a member of Covenant for a long, long time, and feel very fortunate to have 3 generations of our family going, and being on the session with my dad is pretty cool too.
Absolutely. And why is church important to you now as an adult?
So many ways. I mean, there's the social aspect for sure. There's so many neat people at our church, and people that I wouldn't have necessarily known in other parts of my life. You know, I have a regular relationship with someone in their 80s from one of the committees I'm on, who I adore, who I probably wouldn't have known, and some other people who don't have kids or who have different lifestyles than I do, who I found a lot in common with, and I have learned a lot from, that I am only friends with and know because of church committees. Um, but also the things we talked about before, the committees and the groups that I've been part of, the moms group and our Sunday school parent potluck and some of those things, and even confirmation where we talked with our kids, but also we as parents learned about things too that have helped me be challenged more in my faith, and push me out of my comfort zone. And I've done a couple of faith talks at church, which is not something I feel comfortable doing, but I now sort of look forward to it and enjoy it. And even being on session and doing what do we call them, devotionals. I put a lot of thought into those and think about them for long periods of time. And they're a little scary to me, but they're also really help me think about what my relationship with God is and what I'm learning and what's still confusing to me or what frustrates me. I just feel like it makes me a better person, and having the people that help me do that and having God in my life make my life, I mean, so different and more full than it ever could be otherwise.
That's all really wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
And we're so grateful to have all of the ways that you serve this church and participate in this church. And I know lots of people who would say the same of getting to know you, and that having you as part of the church is such a wonderful thing. So thank you for making time for me tonight to do this, and for the opportunity for lots of people who will watch this to get to know you a little better, Lori.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too.